welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. A lot's been happening this week. Donald Trump is looking to take over the United States Postal Service. One thing he wants to do now is come out with stamps with his likeness on them. I find that shocking. People still buy stamps. This will inadvertently cause people to discover that Trump stamps will be the first to become adhesive once they come into contact with ejaculate. I plan to counter this by stocking up on those forever stamps, which can be used as long as I have them, no matter if the price of postage goes up. I mean, it's in the name. They can literally be used forever, which at the rate we're going will be about 6 months. A new poll says that 14% of Americans approved of Trump pardoning the January 6th prisoners. What the poll didn't take into account was that all of that 14% were the January 6th prisoners and their families. Since he took over as chair of the board of directors for the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Trump has canceled an appearance there by the men's gay chorus, saying that the only homosexual activity that should take place in D.C. is people asking him for a job in his administration. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said about Trump's firing of the Joint Chiefs, "We want lawyers who don't exist to attempt to be roadblocks to anything that happens." Anything that happens? Is it too much to wish that this anything that happens is him trying to get rid of a hooker after she's puking up outside a hotel in West Palm Beach after drinking too many Zimas? I'm only joking, of course. There's no evidence that Pete Hegseth has ever paid a hooker. He kills them immediately.
Oh.
For legal reasons, I have to say that's not true, to the best of my knowledge. Kash Patel officially became director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is an historic moment, as it's the first time in history that the FBI will be led by someone who looks like a cross between a jock and the nerd who he shoves into the gym locker. Kash Patel looks perpetually frightened, doesn't he? He always looks like someone is about to log on to his computer and look up his Pornhub search preferences. I know that somewhere the ghost of J. Edgar Hoover is so happy that Kash Patel has taken the FBI in the direction that he took it, and meeting so many of his objectives that wherever he is now, J. Edgar Hoover is overlooking the fact that Kash Patel isn't white. And on that note, on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Hysen, Jess Feeney, and Valerie Paschall.
Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Hello.
So what have you guys been up to this week?
Well, Tom, I've been deliberating because we've talked about the Kennedy Center being taken over by Trump and this administration, which is basically being done to screw with the Washington elite. That's what they say. This should not be a month one priority for a new administration, but that's what they've done. And I'm wondering what the ramifications of this are going to be, such as will they prevent Hamilton from being at the Kennedy Center anymore because the cast is not accurate.
1,000%.
Right.
1,000%.
Right. Yeah. And I have tickets for Parade this summer, which I bought months ago before the election, before I ever thought this would happen. So Parade is a musical about a terrible anti-Semitic act that occurred in the around 1920. And I'm wondering if this administration is going to cancel the production because they think the show is aspirational. They think it's a good idea. They think it's a comedy. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that.
All I know is that since Trump took over, I've established a new policy. I'm only doing DEI hires. So if you're a white guy who hasn't been on my show yet, tough shit. And this show is the opposite of aspirational. So
Yeah, my God. The Kennedy Center, they're really trying to stick it to the cast of Sheer Madness. Oh, no.
Yeah, totally. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but it's like when Jeff said the Washington elites, it's like, oh, yeah. all those fucking Hollywood types in Washington D.C. Like,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake, he just wants to like take over any like slice of the arts that he can because he's so jealous. He's so jealous that like
Yeah.
nobody in Hollywood likes him.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
stick it to
exactly
all
it.
let's stick it to all the local bands playing the Millennium stage.
Right,
That'll show
right.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
Joining us this week to go ahead and discuss this week's big events, please welcome to the show on her debut, Rose Vineshank.
Hey.
Rose, welcome to the show. Welcome to the what's been described as an insane asylum. So happy you could join us.
Sweet.
So do you see us like going into dark times, or are you just optimistic about anything?
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what the fuck is going on, like ever, but the vibe is not good right now.
Well, you're going to fit in very well on this show.
Yeah, if you think the vibe isn't good now, just wait 40 minutes.
About 25 for the regular
Yeah.
list. For the Patreon, it's you get the extra misery.
So what you guys were saying before, though, about like the Kennedy Center, they're like, we're gonna really stick it. Like, surely, if we get rid of the gay men's chorus, there will be no more gays left in the musical theater. That's
Truly.
it. We
Yeah.
got them.
What are you
Boy,
gonna
they're
hire
gonna
the
be
straight
surprised.
men's chorus? Like, fuck those guys.
I
Which
mean,
is basically-
Rose, they're just worried about crashing Grinder again.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
The conflict between the federal government versus the states is nothing new, since such a provision reflecting such an occurrence was written into the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. Of course, it's still being exploited to this day, as we can see in this clip of a tense exchange between Donald Trump and Maine's Democratic Governor Janet Mills.
Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal law.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Oh my god.
If we've learned anything from the past, it's that Donald Trump doesn't do well in court, like at all. And also, like, and the part of Maine that he won is the part where like nobody lives. Like everybody moves down to like the more populated areas, and they didn't vote for him this last go around.
Dead people voted for him. I'm calling it. Dead people voted for him. Dead people in Maine voted for Donald Trump. I'm sticking to my story.
You're going to die on that hill.
What did he? I'm missing context. Why is he mad at the Maine lady? What is her name?
Janet Mills. So
Janet. Why is he mad at Janet Mills? Janet Mills, terrible person. Terrible person. Maine's famous for their lobsters. She's famous for her crabs. Terrible crab. Terrible crab. They're in China.
Oh, that was good.
I mean, that's actually better than the real explanation, which is that she doesn't want to abide by the Trump executive order barring transgender athletes from competing in women's sports, basically. So,
But it shows you also how sensitive he is because all he had to do was ignore it. It's the governor of Maine, a state that most people don't even know exists. And he didn't have to say anything about it, but he called her out. He calls out the governor of Maine for anything. I thought the governor of Maine lives in a lighthouse.
That's so real. Yeah.
Right, and it's also the same thing with drag performers in libraries. They made up they made this into a national crisis. And they inflamed it on Fox News and Newsmax and OWN for something that's very rare that most people don't see. And they made it sound like it was all across America.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you get people to vote against their best interests, right? You get them like really freaked out about morality. And I feel like that kind of goes on the left and the right too. If you get someone into a moral panic, they will kind of ignore some of the stuff that might affect them in their daily life for whatever,
Yeah.
It's the horror movie tactic. Make them afraid of the stuff they can't see.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. And I think they think that like the trans population is so small that they could just erase them and no one would notice.
Yeah,
Sorry. Sorry, that was dark.
Yeah.
What a positive note to go in on the transition to this next clip. So we'll go ahead. What can we really expect from a second Donald Trump term? We know that his first term consisted of trying to make good with the world's dictators while leaving some of our small d democratically inclined allies in the lurch. And it was confirmed this week when the United States sided with Russia and North Korea against the United Nations resolution condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the third anniversary of the war's beginning. Now, what would a full authoritarian version of the United States of America look like? Check out this video of a North Korean stage show, courtesy of one of their defectors.
이 조선 이끄는 힘 5세대다 인민의 분명을 한 몸에 안고 우리가 바라는 분갈이 이상 모두 다 덮여주실 분 위대한 김정은 동지 우리는 당신밖에 모른다 위대한 김정은 동지 당신께 충실하리라 위대한 김정은 동지 우리는 당신밖에 모른다 위대한 김정은 동지 당신께 충실하리라
I like how everybody in that crowd was so relieved. Like when, like not necessarily that the performance is over, it was like, yes, my family and I can survive another day.
Not if they clapped off beat. I'll say this is really jarring to see someone. Have you ever seen someone like laugh without smiling? It's kind of the same thing when you see someone, I guess, clapping for something that upbeat without smiling, and they're like, it's just kind of unsettling. And then also like the precise rhythm of it. I don't know. There's always
the
something
clapping
about like,
caught
these-
me off guard for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh, yeah.
the clapping. That clapping was not normal clapping.
No, it wasn't.
No. As a white male, as a straight white male, that's how we clap.
Okay.
Offbeat.
Offbeat, yes.
And like all together,
Yeah.
I wish I
it's
could
a
argue.
shame.
the homies.
I was wondering what one of the lines meant in that jam. It said, he makes everything grow beyond everyone's wishes. What are they referring to? What's
I
going
got another boner watching him talk. I don't Go back.
Now
down.
that
Well,
is
to
a
be
solid
fair-
Disney villain song. Solid Disney villain
Yeah, it was
song. That
solid.
one.
Yeah, that
It
was.
was
No, it
solid.
was. That's the thing. Like, he's a chubby little cherubic little man, and he's got some sass. He's a sassy boy.
Yeah,
To his
all these
credit.
sassy boys, all these fucking dictators are just sassy boys. You got Sideburns from Argentina. He's a sassy boy. I don't remember his name.
Pretty sassy boy. Yeah,
Very sassy boy.
decently sassy.
Yeah.
And much like Putin, he clearly loves the horses.
Very
You need to
sassy.
be sassy
horse
with your
girls.
horses.
Sensual.
Yeah.
They're horse girls for sure.
You're horse girls. It's like I don't
God.
know. Vladimir Putin is like, oh, I wanted to go lead Russia, but I have choice to win big race and save old barn. I am the only one who can tame Black Lightning. I don't know. I could just
Totally.
that I could visualize that like really easily, like, and it wouldn't be out of character for him.
Rose is good
Totally.
with the voices of dictators. This is very good.
Thank you.
That concert did have the vibe of sort of It's like it wouldn't come. This wouldn't come to fruition, obviously. But it's like the open mic comic who's only done it for 8 months. He decides to film a special, and that's what he wants it to look like. Basically, like that's what it looks like in his head, and then, but in reality, it comes out. It comes out shit.
Does everybody there know that the music was recorded, or are they won't admit it because they weren't playing the band was trying it looked like something from Robert Palmer's classic video, and the singers weren't singing. So, but if you're in the audience, can you admit that?
No, you can't admit anything.
Exactly.
In the audience. Maybe they were clapping in Morse code. Like they're basically the Milli Vanilli of singing ladies. I don't know.
I don't think you can admit anything in North Korea.
No,
I don't
not.
think
That's like
you
the
can
first thing you
ever
can-
admit that you see something that's amiss. Yeah, I think that's kind of the whole point of North Korea. Everyone's just agreed, no, this is fine and cool and normal.
That's the motto of North Korea, actually.
Yeah.
No, this is fine and cool.
Everything's fine. It's an entire country full of the "this is fine" dog.
Yeah.
It is the entire country is in the sunken place.
Yeah. Well, at least their music slaps.
Yeah.
They starve their people, like their economy's in the tank. Like the powers that be are the ones who hoard everything while everybody else gets nothing. But their jams are rocking.
All you need is a beat, brother. That's all you need.
It can be argued that the normalization of Donald Trump led to his reelection, and we shouldn't let the now outraged media outlets get away with the fact that in the years between Trump's 2 presidential terms, they were complicit in the brushing under the rug of his overt authoritarian wishes. In this 2021 piece from MSNBC, we get a prophetic analysis of the media's coverage of the rise of Trump in the run-up leading to the latest campaign.
Now that Donald Trump and his supporters in the Republican Party all over the country have launched a continuing assault on democracy, the news media faces a challenge of how to report that story without appearing to simply be supporting one political party against another. Mark Jacob says the news media has been, quote, unintentionally complicit in the rise of fascism that threatens our democracy. Those are his words. And he includes himself among those who have been complicit. Mark Jacob edited Page One stories for the Chicago Tribune, and he describes the challenge facing news media in a series of tweets. Mainstream media have long tried to treat Republicans and Democrats equally. Some, like me, thought that was the way to be fair. In fact, it was the way to be lazy and not have to sort out the facts. Just quote a Democrat and quote a Republican, and you're done. When I edited political stories, I went so far as to count the quotes from Republicans and Democrats, thinking an equal number would make us fairer. I didn't think I was helping either party. I thought I was helping the readers. I was wrong. The Republicans have overwhelmed the media with corruption. They've created scandal fatigue, prompting journalists to do something I call ethics norming. That's when something that would have been a huge scandal in the recent past is considered normal now. Some media have turned off their outrage impulse and decided that corruption is normal. What's needed is new framing, not party-oriented, but democracy-oriented, truth-oriented. The media shouldn't elevate liars in the interest of fairness. Yes, media should be fair to the readers, to the facts, but not to the two-party system, to our democracy.
I agree with Chunky Bob Ross. I think.
Tom, look what's gone on with the press. The AP refused to go along with the renaming, quote unquote, of the Gulf of Mexico. So the White House kicked the AP out of the press briefing room. How did the rest of the reporters handle it? No, they didn't do anything. They just went along with it instead of, at least some of them, the ones that aren't supplicants to Trump, they shouldn't show up. They should, or that should be their only question. But they didn't do anything. So look at what the White House did on Tuesday when Press Secretary Leavitt announced that the pool reporters would be decided by the White House. It's always been decided by the White House Correspondents Association, and they would mix it up because not every reporter can go into the Oval Office. So they would take a representative sample. Well, now the White House decided on Tuesday, which they'll figure out who are going to be the full reporters. So it's not going to be the New York Times, Washington Post. It's not going to be MSNBC. It's not going to be the Bulwark. It's not going to be Pod Save America. It's not going to be Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. It's going to be their favorites. And that's what the White House has done because the media hasn't pushed back, which is what this reporter was saying.
Can I just say I did hear a story, and I apologize if you addressed this because I was looking it up. But so the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, joined by more than 30 news media organizations, is asking the White House to restore the Associated Press's poll participation. Basically, there was this letter that 30 media organizations signed, and that included Fox News and I think fucking like Newsmax. Like, there has been a lot of pushback about this. I feel like, just in the interest of fairness, I should point that out. But also, I think that this is kind of like an unsolvable problem, because obviously we should only report the facts, and we shouldn't have to like bias ourselves to people who are hell-bent on, non-reality and like living in their own pretend reality. But I don't know how you do that without losing viewership. I mean, honestly, in this age when people can basically tailor their news to what they already believe, they'll see that as like, oh, they're biased. I mean, like, it's kind of like the Democrats' main problem in general. Like, how do we convince these people that, like, no, we're just right. Our policies are just better. I know that you want to believe that there's two sides to this coin, but the other guys really are bad. They're lying, It seems too simple to be true. So I think that's why there's difficulty in that area when it comes to journalism.
Donald Trump is nominated for his deputy head of the FBI, Dan Bongino. A former Senate candidate in Maryland, Dan Bongino is a right-wing talk show host and an election denier who opts not to buy a premium Pornhub subscription because he wants to have no ads while perusing Rumble and stockpiling weapons and preparing for an upcoming doomsday scenario. These are all presumptions, which means he's still able to fit in with other Republicans here in my home state. The fact that he speaks in complete sentences makes him a moderate by today's standards. But in this clip, he unleashes on a Politico reporter during a congressional run in 2016.
Seriously, what, do you think you're going to hurt my campaign?
No, I don't think I'm going to hurt your campaign because it sounds like you're losing, Dan. It sounds like you're hurting your own campaign.
No, Mark, my life doesn't revolve around politics.
That's why you've run for 3 offices in a row, Dan? It sounds like they do.
I have an actual life and a job. I'm not a loser like you.
So why are you running for an office in a city you don't live in a county you don't live in district you don't live in, or you're not a registered voter in? You don't own property there.
That's against the. Can you quote me that rule where you have to do that? Oh, you can't. Again, because you're not smart enough.
Okay, so you don't actually have.
About politics, right?
You're not a registered voter in the district.
Right?
You're not a registered voter in the district.
You're right about politics.
Are you a registered voter in the district?
You don't know the no.
You're not. You're not a registered voter in the district. So let's see. You move down to Florida after losing 2 campaigns in Maryland. You say you're going to stay in Maryland and fight. You tuck tail, run away to Florida. You go look to run in District 18. You see you're not going to be able to win there. You try to run in District 19. You're losing there. You're like a professional political candidate who loses, Dan. You just lose.
You have no idea why I moved to Florida.
I know you moved here and you wanted to run for. You wanted to run. Oh, Dad, why are you yelling now?
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, Dad, is that like an offer or something? Is that an offer?
Motherfucker. You shut your mouth. Fucking coward.
Hey, Dad, do me a favor. I'll handle the questions and you handle the answers.
I'm not
just
hey,
calm down. Oh, Dan, you really sound like you need some help.
Motherfucker.
I think you need some help.
Fuck yourself.
Okay.
You hear me?
Do you realize you sound like you need medication?
You don't know why. And let me tell you.
You sound like you need medication, Dan. Do you need some professional help?
You have no idea. Shut the fuck up.
I think you need professional help. I think you need professional help.
Go fuck yourself. You don't know why I'm in Florida. Because
I know you're in Florida running a race and that you're losing in it by your attitude because you're swearing and acting out.
Fuck you.
And I also know that you looked at running in another district and you knew you couldn't win there either.
Hey, Listen to
So
me.
let's see,
Rick,
that's three-
I'm going to expose you now.
Okay.
And when I tell everybody the real reason I'm down here, I'm going to expose your fucking ass even more.
All right, you're free to do that, and you can continue to threaten. You can continue to threaten me if you'd like.
You're a piece of shit. Because you're a lying scumbag, and it's people like you.
You haven't even established where I lied. We've already established in the record where you've lied.
Yeah,
And now you're acting out and you're swearing.
Piece of shit. You know what? Go fuck yourself.
All right. Well, you hung up on me.
The real reason I moved to Florida was the bustling infrastructure and normal types of crime. That never involved shoving alligators up someone's butthole ever. And definitely not that.
Nap time for Danny Boy.
He did say he was going to expose his ass. Maybe he was trying to shove an alligator up there.
Why?
Tom,
You could just also say when I reveal the reason I moved to Florida, you're gonna lose your mind. You can't the dark, twisted reality of why I moved to Florida. Just say, why did you? Was it the palm tree? I don't know. That makes me feel like something's up. You know what I mean?
I mean,
when I move, it's not like a scheme. It's because nice school system,
right?
Or something,
Yeah. I mean, there are plenty of bad emo bands that are out of Florida, and from the sounds of it, think Dan
that's the reason.
He either listens to them or he really needs to listen to them.
I'm not a loser. Oof. That came right out of a song from 2005.
Cut my wrist and shove an alligator up my ass because my heart is in Florida.
Go fuck yourself.
That's the deputy director of the FBI.
Yeah.
That's what you need to remember.
Are you serious, right?
Is the deputy director of the FBI.
Yeah.
That guy?
Yep.
That's today. That was the news
100%.
on Tuesday.
I believe he has to be confirmed to that position, but man,
This guy's just really. I thought that was just a really funny guy, a funny yelling guy. You know how they have those.
well, I mean, they're
and Tom, I know your podcast is based in Maryland. To the credit of Marylanders, he was the Republican candidate in 2012 against Ben Cardin.
I know. I voted against him.
Ben Cardin. Well, so did most people. Ben Cardin got 55% of the vote. Bongino got 27%. You have to try really hard to only get 27%.
So
as a Republican in Florida?
In Maryland.
In Maryland, gotcha.
And that is the perfect high note on which to end this show. So on that note, that is our show. I want to thank Jeff Hysen, Jess Feeney, Valerie Paschall, and Rose Vineshank.
Woo! It was fun.
This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Hysen, Jess Feeney, Valerie Paschall, and Rose Vineshank. Theme music composed and arranged by Jeroen van den Hurck. Executive producers Tom Myers, Aaron Duspiva for Oddly Funny Productions, Matt Connarton for ipmNation, and Eddie Carson for Odyssey Radio. Please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Tom Myers, for access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, and bonus clips. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for listening, and please visit tommyers.us.